Story 1. Probably my voice. I know a few instruments well and am confident I could learn any of them well enough to have fun. Besides singing, I enjoy doing silly voices and impersonations, so having a mastered voice would be awesome. Story 2. Accordion. Just think of all the polkas I would get invited to. Story 3. The harp is beautiful. I also like the organ because I can play Phantom of the Opera. Story 4. Trumpet and compatible, low maintenance, does not detune, compact. I would also take a C variant into my collection next to the standard B-flat and E-flat types for more versatility. Story 5. Piano. We have a Steinway in our office, and I wish I could play it during lunch. Story 6. Guitar. Easy to take with you, almost everyone has one, and it would be cool to play with some of the great musicians. Story 7. Violin. I know how to play, but people know how to bring out all the music I could never have tried. I wish I could master it instantly. Story 8. Jaw harp. Twang tung twang. Seriously though, piano. It would help with music creativity. Story 9. Piano. I took lessons as a kid, but we only had an organ. I had to practice my piano lessons on an organ, which was very different. Story 10. Out of the instruments I have tried, either guitar or bass, I am interested in trying other instruments I have never played, such as the harp or sitar. Story 11. Guitar. My father once tried to teach me when I was younger, but I was not musically inclined. He was very talented, and now that he is gone, I wish I could play in his memory. Story 12. Drums. I can fumble my way a bit on the drum set and barely hold a beat, but I cannot play the drums. I totally understand why drummers always make faces when playing. You get into it and something takes over. Story 13. My voice. Allergies and hypothyroidism have severely damaged my vocal cords. My vocal range has been reduced by half, and I can sing only 1 or 2 songs before my voice becomes raspy. I would love to be able to sing loudly again. Story 14. I think one could benefit most by choosing a very novel, less commonly used instrument. 1. Choose the holophoner from Futurama. Story 15. That's a tie between piano, guitar, and ukulele. I lean strongly towards the ukulele because I love its compact size and light tone. Piano for its range and versatility. Guitar for its ballad quality and sonorous chords. Story 16. Piano. Just walking into a hotel lobby and playing it is probably a huge flex. Story 17. Drums. I have always been a drummer. I played for 8 years, but it was very hard to master. I had to sell my drums because of the children, but I still want to master the instrument. Story 18. Piano. Imagine being able to improvise this. Story 19. Electric guitar and play in front of people I dislike. I have a list at 3 a.m. Story 20. Definitely guitar. I had 2 guitars when I was a kid, but I was never good at playing and sold them at some point because I was not interested in learning anymore. Now, I would love to pick it up again. Story 21. I have been playing the guitar for 15 years, so I would choose the guitar because I still have not mastered it. Story 22. Organ. Nobody would ever believe me until I get the chance to play one. Story 23. My mandolin. It has been 14 years and I hit a wall a long time ago. Story 24. Violin. Love strings. If I could play Antonio Vivaldi's The Four Seasons, it would be so wonderful. Story 25. Violin. I took beginner lessons a year or 2 ago and still have the violin. That is a tough instrument. Story 26. Violin. I play a wide assortment of instruments as a career. The violin requires practice, technique, and finesse that are rare in other instruments. Story 27. Violin, drums, or piano in that order, but only by a hair. I can't choose. Story 28. Keyboards. I already know my way around a guitar. Keys are like another planet. Story 29. I have always been interested in various types of drums, guitar, and kalimba. Story 30. Guitar. I have learned a couple of instruments in my life, but wow, I had no idea the guitar was such a versatile instrument. I love it. I cannot play very well, but at my age, it is just about having fun. Story 31, bandoneons, I just think they are cool and not many people play them. Also, I love Astor Piazzolla. Story 32, piano, I would love to be able to play honky tonk, boogie woogie, and dirty piano. Story 33, if I could master one musical instrument instantly, I would choose the piano. Story 34, piano, I can play rhythm guitar, make pottery, paint, draw, and do many other things with my hands, but my hands cannot seem to coordinate for typing and piano. I do type daily, but I am much slower than most. Story 35. The piano might be the most useful instrument to know if you want to make music, but for me personally, nothing can top the elegance, beauty, and soul of a guitar piece. Story 36. Harmonica. You can always have one with you and impress instantly. Story 37. Cello. I play piano but always wish I had learned the cello. Story 38. Flute. So that I can carry it easily and play it while I am enjoying nature. Story 39. Guitar. You can carry it anywhere and anytime. Also, its sound is amazing. Story 40. The violin is special because the sound of a violin can touch both your heart and soul. Story 41. Piano. If you get a really good idea of how to play the piano, you make it a lot easier to learn other instruments. Story 42. The bone organ from Goonies. It will save your life one day. Story 43. Pan flute. I would say horn or war horn, but I don't think you really need practice to master one of those. You just blow into it. Story 44. Cello. I have always wanted to learn it. However, I would choose the violin because I love how it sounds when it is played well. Story 45. Saxophone. Something about it being able to connect to most people in the world. Story 46. I would choose the guitar because I want to learn it. It would be a challenging instrument to play so I could brag. I think it would be cool to play something like that. Story 47. I play guitar, trumpet, and accordion, so I can start playing cumbia. Story 48. Something that is boring to learn. Something totally random, probably. I cannot think of anything right away. Story 49. Saxophone. I have always loved that instrument. It sounds great, but I cannot play any instruments at all. Story 50. I would like to play the guitar better, so probably that. I would have agreed with piano, but the guitar is portable. Story 51. Guitar for sure. Portable and vibey. Bonfire guitar player is absolutely goals. Story 52. Sagaru shamisen. Loud, versatile, portable, and certainly not easy. Story 53. Saxophone. I have always wanted to play the saxophone, but I never got around to trying. Story 54. The most complex one-man band setup ever invented. Story 55. I feel like the piano is the most versatile instrument, and the guitar is the coolest. Does mastering my voice count? Being able to sing, do impressions, and throw my voice would probably be more useful than anything else. Story 56. Drums. Playing drums seems like it would be fun once you improve. Story 57. Definitely guitar or drums, but guitar if I can only choose one. Story 58. For everyone who says, I should really start learning the guitar, I recommend Guitar Zero by Gary Marcus. He is a neuropsychologist who took a sabbatical for a year to finally learn how to play the guitar. He describes his journey, including his ups and downs, with a lot of science about what making music actually does to your brain and body. It is totally fascinating. Story 59. Violin. I love Sherlock Holmes and have always liked the female electric violinist Vanessa Mae. It is so beautiful. Story 60. Drums. The difference a good drummer makes in any music is incredible. Story 61. I play a few instruments reasonably well, the piano very well, but if I could master one, it would be either the violin or the alto saxophone. Story 62. The guitar and the saxophone are hands down the most beautiful sounding instruments. Story 63. I have been playing bass and guitar for years, so probably drums next. Story 64. Either the ocarina or the kalimba. I have no interest in playing music to crowds, but I love these two instruments. I have learned a bit but sadly struggled to get good at them. Story 65. The mouth organ is one of the best instruments there is. I have thought many times about learning it but then gave up. Having your instrument in your pocket and being able to play it whenever and wherever sounds really cool. Story 66. I can already play bass and guitar, so I will definitely choose the piano every time. Story 67. Guitar. I have always wanted to just sit and strum. Both my children can. Story 68. Either piano or keyboard. I am actually contemplating if I should start at 34. There is a big music school that just moved into the old middle school across the street, only 2 minutes away, so at least it would not be far. Story 69. Twin-bowed psaltery. I just love the music it makes, but I am so inept with instruments that it would probably take me 10 years to learn it. I could learn it, but there are other things on my to-do list first. Story 70. Trumpet. I have dedicated my life to that pile of twisted metal, and I am good, but to be an instant master, thus undoing all my bad habits that take time to undo instantly, I would be ecstatic. Story 71. All the tools you need to create music on a computer. Imagine using all those programs and equipment to do things like the big disc jockeys. Creating whole songs must be easier than just having a guitar or a piano. Story 72. The fiddle is easily portable and creates an instant party atmosphere. Story 73. Piano seems pretty cool, but I would choose guitar because I can move around with a guitar and not a piano. Story 74. Banjo. I want to be the next neurodivergent person swinging on a chair playing dueling banjos with Dave Grohl on the guitar. Story 75. Guitar. The fast, flexible fingers could help me in other life situations. Story 76. Fretless guitar. It would immediately improve my bass playing, which is my current main instrument. Fretless has a huge gatekeeping coolness multiplier. Story 77. The piano was my first choice. However, I decided to choose the organ for maximum benefit. The reasons are: 1. I already know how to play the piano. 2. I am a better mechanic than the average person. To master an instrument, I must know how to repair and tune it. 3. I would become a master of multitasking. 4. My legs would be well developed. Story 78. I would love to be able to play the violin again and master it even better. If not, then the guitar for sure. Story 79. Banjo is the instrument I would choose if I wanted to learn to play any. Story 80. Guitar. I have been trying for years. My fingers just will not do what I want them to do. Story 81. Violin so I can become my girlfriend's teacher. She is self-taught and struggling partly due to lack of time. Story 82. Either a violin, viola, cello, or handpan. Each has an otherworldly sound that captures and fascinates me. Story 83. Guitar, almost a year of practice and I still have trouble. Story 84. I play some guitar. I am not an expert or an advanced player, but I can play along with a few songs well enough for my performance to be enjoyed by an audience. That being said, I would love to master keyboards and synthesizer instruments. Story 85. Violin. I adore the sound of violins. It gives me chills every time. However, it seems very complicated to learn. Story 86. Accordion. It would be nice to be a one-man band and also make some money playing on a street corner in the city. Story 87. Being a piano player with guitar as my second instrument and drums as my third, I choose saxophone. It is portable, fun, and can do things I cannot achieve with piano or guitar without heavy modifications. Story 88. Guitar. But I am content with where I am. If done properly, you never really stop learning, which is more fun anyway. Story 89. Piano. I wanted to pursue a career in music. Initially, I aimed for vocal performance, but then I considered music education. While I did not end up doing either, one of the main reasons was that I cannot play the piano for the life of me. I have taken classes and can read music. I know music theory and have had extensive exposure to classical music my whole life. However, I am simply not coordinated enough to play the piano. Knowing how to play the piano would not only make it much easier for me to accompany myself while singing, but it would also open up many more options and allow me to pursue my musical passions in various new ways. Story 90. Piano. I often fantasize when hearing a great piano that I am the one playing it in a fancy hotel lobby and all the guests are smitten. Story 91. The guitar. After trying for 50 years, some payoff would be nice. Story 92. Cello. I just love every piece of music with a cello in it. Story 93. Guitar. I love it and I already know a little bit, but I just can't move my fingers quickly enough or memorize chords. I can also barely strum, so I am stuck with picking right now, but I am pretty good at that. Story 94. Guitar. I am going to get it done myself if I do not achieve the instant mastery you mention. Story 95. Piano or cello would be amazing, but for bang for the buck, I would settle on guitar. Easily transportable, and you can become a rock star if you want. Every once in a while, go to a crowded mall or tourist attraction and randomly shred epic chords from popular songs in public just for fun. Story 96. Expectedly, the top 3 answers are piano, guitar, and voice. These are 3 of the most relevant, commonly used, and versatile instruments in contemporary society. Story 97. My ears. Not necessarily perfect pitch, but at least good relative pitch. Story 98. Guitar. To be able to play like Slash, Prince, B.B. King, Jerry Garcia, or Carlos Santana, that would be amazing. The current me wouldn't tour with that skill, but I could make a living from local performances and giving lessons. Story 99. If it has to be an analog instrument, piano. If it can be anything, a high-quality synthesizer and musical instrument digital interface keyboard with all the knobs and dials. Story 100. The guitar I got for Christmas last year is getting dusty in the closet. Story 101. If you could master the piano, you would be a pianist. Story 102. Trumpet. I play the trumpet in a jazz band and a concert band. I have been playing it since high school, although I took a 20-year break with only a few times playing in between. I would love to be a master trumpet player. Story 103. Piano. If you become a master of the piano, everything else becomes easier. Story 104. 2 options for me. Hurdy-gurdy. A very interesting instrument with a unique sound and many techniques that can be used to play it in various ways. Tagelharpa, a simple instrument, but very unique in tonal quality and in how it is played. Story 105. Cello. I played the violin for years, but it is hard to do these days due to upper back issues. I honestly prefer the sound of the cello anyway. I do not know why I did not pick it in the first place. Story 106. Mastering the piano is the highest level of coolness a person can achieve. Story 107. The harmonium is a bellows-driven keyboard instrument. Story 108. I'm a female and would have loved to learn drums, but I've been told my whole life it is a man's instrument, so I never bothered. I think I could have picked it up fairly quickly too. Story 109. Guitar. Girls love it when they know a man who plays the guitar. Story 110. Hurdy-gurdy. It is like the guitar version of a violin and would be one of the few stringed instruments I can use with my disabilities. The name sounds like a joke too, making it a great conversation starter I could use to show off my skills. Story 111. Violin is very impressive. Piano is impressive as well. Story 112. Harmonica. I love listening to it. If I could play it, I would play it for myself the most. Story 113. I am a multi-instrumentalist and I sing, but I would do anything to add half an octave to my voice. Man. Story 114. Piano. I tried lessons a while ago, and I just cannot play with 2 hands together no matter how hard I try. I can play many songs one-handed by ear, though. Story 115. Hurdy-gurdy, also known as the crank organ, is a unique instrument with an almost hypnotic sound. You can also use a bow with it or pluck it for a more traditional sound, making it versatile. Story 116. I used to try to play bass, so I guess that moonlighting as a session musician making metal for the love of it is how I used it. Being tone deaf makes all of this unlikely. Story 117. Piano. I have spent enough time playing guitar. I will be a piano master and average at guitar. Story 118. I dislike the accordion because it is annoying. If at night I hear a noisy group roaming around the neighborhood and disturbing my sleep, I can just take my instrument and join them instead of complaining. Story 119. Piano. I will always love the melody, also because of Danganronpa. Story 120. Piano. It is one of the main instruments of composition. It is also one of those instruments that is extremely difficult and rare to master, making its players among the few musicians who can control it. Story 121. Guitar, as in Stevie Ray Vaughan's mastery of the guitar mixed with just the right amount of Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, Joe Satriani, and the other greats. Story 122. Guitar. I know that not all stringed instruments are the same, but I feel that if I could understand and fully grasp stringed chords, then I might be able to figure out violin and cello. Story 123. The guitar has the most versatility and attractive qualities. Story 124. Guitar. I had often thought I would sell my soul to be the greatest guitar player, but if that chance came up, I would not. Story 125. Harmonica. I took lessons for about a year. Some people are just very talented with it. Story 126. Guitar. I have spent 20 years trying to master it. It would be nice to succeed. Story 127. I am a drummer, so I would choose something vastly different, maybe saxophone or violin. Story 128. Guitar. It is the coolest looking instrument and looks fun to pose with. Story 129. I am already a solid guitar player. I have spent a considerable amount of time getting there. I love rhythm and beats, but lack limb independence, which seems like a huge barrier to overcome in order to become a great drummer. Therefore, I would probably pick drums. Story 130. Guitar. I have been learning for just under a year, and it has taken this long just to sound like a beginner. It is going to take a long time to reach a decent level. Story 131. If I am Earth's ambassador to an alien race, it must be either the sitar or the didgeridoo. If I am just trying to get laid, the alto saxophone, obviously. If I am just relaxing on the bayou, a pair of spoons and a saw. If I am mourning the death of a beloved pet, the ukulele. Story 132. None. My favorite part about playing music is the journey of learning it. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.